Hello there, this is James and you're watching Tixee Live. And a very good morning to all of you, and all of you a very happy Wednesday. In today's program, I want to talk a little bit about the Japanese yen and its decline against the US dollar. And ask the question, when will the Bank of Japan finally intervene? But before we get into all of that, don't forget, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. So I always suggest you do your own research and do your own diligence. And of course, there are the risks at hand before entering any trade. With that out the way, let's get started. So the yen, Japanese yen, is set to have its worst year ever. Its worst year ever against the US dollar. And obviously, we've had this conversation about the yen. And really what's driving it is the fact that we have two very different central banks in play. We have the Fed, which, as we know, is very aggressive and raising interest rates. And the market expects, again, for the Fed to raise interest rates by 75 basis points on the 21st of September. So this is why we've got a strong dollar in general across the board. But in particular, why it's at a 24-year high against the yen is on the other side, the House of the Rising Sun, or that House of the Rising Sun, the country of the Rising Sun. The House of the Rising Sun is a song, of course, of Japan. We have Bank of Japan, and their monetary stance is polar opposite to the Fed and other central banks. Their interest rates are still negative 0.10%. And they have made no suggestions or no statements that they're going to change their monetary status. Because here's the thing, this is why as well. This is why they're not looking to change, because obviously we get a lot of bad news from Europe, energy crisis, okay, and the decline, inflation. And we have a lot of bad news out of the UK. Constantly I'm talking about bad news from the UK and how bad the UK is in. But we don't get bad news out of Asia, apart from China and their slowdown in growth. But Japan actually has one of the slowest growing economies in the world at the moment, in the world. I mean, the growth forecast is like this. I mean, EU is 2.8%. This is for 2022, UK 3.5, US 1.6, China 3.5, and Japan is 1.5%. So it's the lowest out of those sort of major economies. It's the lowest. So this explains also a little bit why the BOJ is reluctant when they're trying to, they're struggling with growth. They're trying, when they're struggling with growth, that's what explains why they're slightly more reluctant to change their loose monetary policy. Growth forecast for 2023, okay, is EU 1.5, UK 0.5, US 1.3, Japan 4.2, and Japan 0.6. So you can see a little bit about why they haven't, changed their monetary policy. Unlike the US, who has on the Bank of England and ECB have all been quite aggressive with interest rates. The question, of course, the market is asking, because of where the dollar yen is at the moment, when will the BOJ intervene like they did in 1998, when the yen was at the similar sort of levels where it was against the dollar? When will they intervene? And in fact, Japan's finance minister, Suzuki, in reference to falling yen, he said, and I quote him, "The fall of the yen is something rapid and it's one-sided. One-sided." So basically what he's saying is that the yen is dropping really quickly, and it's all about US dollar dominance. When they pushed him, and this is important, when they pushed him about when any chance of intervention, Suzuki also said he will not comment on what kind of steps the authorities will take, if necessary, when he is asked by the potential for currency intervention. So because, again, it's a question, when will the BOJ intervene? Because to be fair, unless we get a complete change in the US or by the Fed, or a completely different story, unless the BOJ does something with its monetary policy or intervenes, to be fair, the bulls for the dollar yen, they have a lot of ground still to run. And we'll pull up at the moment. We'll pull up. Basically, anyway, what he said, that didn't do anything. I think they're hoping that him suggesting that they may intervene at some point, or won't say how they're going to intervene, will give the market a bit of a boost for the yen. But to be fair, when he said those comments, it was more of just a speed bump than anything else. But let's have a quick look at the yen now as it stands. This is on a 30-minute chart, okay? It is trading at 144.027. Okay, so it's new 24-year high. Like I said yesterday, JP Morgan, one of the analysts, they favor this to go to 145 in the short term. As you can see, this is on a 30 minutes. We look at the daily here. Okay, I mean, there was all talk about when would they intervene. They talked around this point when it was around about 135. Will the BOJ intervene? But they did nothing. But as you can see, we're still on a very much on an uptrend with the dollar at the moment. The RSI is, this is on a daily, RSI is above the 70, which does give the bulls a little bit of a breather. So we could expect a few dips along the way. So it is over 70. So it's just, we could see a little bit of selling at some point, but I don't think we will see a change in direction at the moment. Unless, like I say, the BOJ intervenes or something completely changes in the US, something really dramatic. But yeah, that's what's happening with the yen at the moment. Other things that are happening today, which will be interesting, I'll have a look at the pair as well at the moment, is we have, of course, the Bank of England monetary policy report. And Bailey, I was going to say Arthur Bailey, Mr. Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England, has a speech today at 9 a.m. UTC. Now, don't forget, the sterling has somewhat had a bit of a sorry time recently, because obviously we've had a lot of strong dollar. There was a lot of political uncertainty. It got a bit of a boost yesterday from the Trust. Trust is promised, the new UK Prime Minister, making promises of helping out, 90 billion, now it was 130 billion, I think they're talking about 90 billion sterling to help our households to solve the energy crisis. But there's still a lot of concern. And like I said yesterday, I don't think that adds up, to be honest. And then obviously the cable or the sterling came under pressure again with the very good US ISM manufacturing. So I think for cable traders today, British pound, US dollar, this I'll be watching very, very closely. See what Mr. Bailey says and see what is said in the monetary policy report. Don't forget, when the Bank of England raised interest rates last time, their press conference afterwards, they were brutally honest. They said inflation could go to 13% by October, and they said they expected the UK to fall into recession at Q4. Real honest but scary facts there. That's their opinion. But let's have a quick look at the sterling as well. So this is how well the sterling is at the moment. Okay, as you can see, this is on a daily. It had a little bit of a boost, but it is still hovering around that key level of 1.14936. Currently trading just above it at the moment. Just above it at the moment at 1.1510. So it'd be interesting to see what Bailey's comments would lead to today with that. Let's have a quick look at the euro while we're at it as well. Okay, euro is still trading just above. It did drop down, don't forget, yesterday below the 98 level, around the 98 level. Currently trading at 99.19, so still under pressure at the moment, but a little bit sideways. There is some news coming out for the euro today. We have obviously got the EU GDP due at 9 a.m. UTC today, and the expectation of that is 3.9%. So that's coming up today as well. Let's have a quick look at the S&P 500, how we're doing at the moment. Trading now around the 3,912 points, so slightly better off, opening slightly higher today than yesterday. But like I say, it's still very much that US ISM manufacturing and services PMI yesterday really gave the dollar a lot of strength and a lot of uncertainty on the market. Gold is pretty much the same story as well. Currently trading just above the psychological level of $1,700. Currently trading at $1,703. The key area I'm watching after the $1,700 level is $1,690 an ounce. So also coming today, we've got the Bank of Canada interest decision due today at 2 p.m. UTC. Expectation is them to increase interest rates 3.25%. Other things coming this week, obviously, like I said, BOE monetary policy, EU GDP, Bank of Canada interest rates. But the big one is tomorrow, and that's the ECB interest rate decision and ECB press conference. I will be doing a watch along for that event. Will they raise interest rates by 75 basis points? Which, if you told me that a couple of months ago, I would have said no chance for the ECB to be that aggressive. But they really believe they could do 75 basis points tomorrow, which will be a real shocker because, you know, this is the ECB we're talking about. How slow have they been to react? So yeah, I'm going to do a watch along for that. So come along and join me for that. And of course, the press conference, I'll do a special on that as well, because Lagarde, as we know, a very intelligent woman, but she does come across quite dovish and evasive with her questions. So we should see what she has to say. So that's tomorrow, big day tomorrow for the euro. The market as it currently stands, like I said, slightly tepid, slightly higher. FTSE slightly in the red, negative 0.01%. DAX negative 0.60%. Eurostock 50 in the green, 0.58%. Don't forget, you can obviously ask me questions anytime you wish, or simply say hello if you like, or share with me your opinions on what you think. What do you think about the yen? Are you bullish on the dollar against the yen at the moment? Will the BOJ, Bank of Japan, will they finally intervene and do currency intervention to give it a boost? I guess only time will tell. Also, simply say hello if you like. Not a problem. Not a problem. If you think of a question later, you can put it in the comments section, either on Facebook or YouTube. I will see them and I will reply to them next time I'm live on air, like I often do. So don't forget that. And don't forget, I'm back on again later today at 2 p.m. UTC to cover the US session and any further developments. Oh, got a hey. Hey to you too. Hello. Hope you're well. So what am I going to be doing this week? As I just mentioned, I'm doing the ECB interest rate decision, which is tomorrow. And I'm going to be going on air at 12:05 p.m. UTC to cover that, because the event actually happens at 12:15 p.m. UTC. So I will be doing the ECB interest rate decision tomorrow. That's what I'll be doing. So yeah. Okie dokie. Like I say, don't forget, I'm back online again later this afternoon at 2 p.m. UTC to cover the US session. So please come and join me for that. If there is no further questions, which is not a problem, what I always say, of course, if you're watching me on Facebook and you enjoyed this little video, by all means, give us a follow. If you're watching me on YouTube and you enjoyed this little video, subscribe if you like. Hit the notification button so you know next time I'm going live. Do I think she's going to be asked a good question? There we go. Do you think Lagarde's going to be dovish again? Christina Lagarde. I've covered her quite a few times, quite a few of her press conferences, and she does tend to be quite. She's very protective of her. She's not very committal, if you know what I mean. She does come across very dovish, and her last press conference she was so evasive with when she was pushed for questions. She didn't answer the questions, and she didn't explain the new, obviously, protection vehicle, which the ECB was going to put into place. She didn't explain. When she was pushed on that, she didn't say many of the mechanics behind it. So, yeah, I do expect her to be pretty dovish again on it. I mean, I think she will, because I think this is just part of her nature, the way she is. I think there's other hawks in the ECB, which is driving the 75. So, yeah, I think she will be dovish again. But good question. Good question. But yeah, we have to wait and see. And like I said, I'll probably do a bit of a special on that. It's a bit difficult when it's a live press conference, but I will certainly do a follow-up special on that, and we'll have to see what impact she has had on the market. But good question. But anyway, as I was saying, if you're watching me on YouTube and you've liked this little video, by all means, subscribe if you like. Hit the notification button so you know next time I'm going live. If you enjoyed this little video and you found it interesting and useful. And you've put up with me, my over-the-top enthusiasm for the markets, which I simply cannot help because I love the markets. It's simply the way it is. Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you for the question. It was great. Yeah, so please always give me one of those because it's nice to know that you like what I do. Anyway, till next time, don't forget these little videos are for educational purposes only and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. So I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence. Of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. Till next time, every single one of you, trade safe.